Good morning and welcome back to my channel and morning devotions. My name is Maggie. If this is your first time stopping by, I hope you decide to like and subscribe and click that notification bell and then come back and check out some of the other content I have on my channel. It is Wednesday, October the 4th. Our devotions are coming from, of course, Joyce Meyer's book called Trusting God Day by Day. And our devotion today is entitled, You Can Pray or Worry, but don't do both. Our scripture comes from the book of Romans, chapter 4, verse 18. I love the book of Romans. This is out of the Amplified Bible. And forget the throat clearing allergies. It's that time of year. For Abraham, human reason for hope being gone, hoped in faith that he should become the father of many nations, as he had been promised, so numberless shall your descendants be. Okay? Abraham was an old man when God told him he was going to be the father of many nations. Okay? All right, let's hear how she gets into this. Okay. When God promised Abraham and his wife Sarah a child, they were both very old and long past childbearing years. They had a rather impossible situation. I want to say they were pushing 100. That's, Romans 4:19 says, Abraham did not weaken in faith even when he looked at himself and saw that it was impossible. Both his body and Sarah's womb were as good as dead. Yet, verse 20 says, no unbelief or distrust made him waver, doubtingly question. It didn't make him waver concerning the promise of God, but he grew strong and was empowered by faith as he gave praise and glory to God. Abraham waited 20 long years for God to fulfill his promise, and he never gave up. Okay, so God tells you when you're an old man already, you're going to be the father of many nations, and then it isn't fulfilled for another 20 years. I don't know about you. I think I would be questioning if whether or not I heard God correctly. Of course, I live in a different era and a time when things are kind of instant, so we kind of have an expectation for things to happen fast. I don't know what the mindset was back then, but he never wavered or questioned, and that's a place I want to be. I want to be in that place that even when, and I think I'm in that place right now, because there's some prophecies, about our nation and about what's happening in the world, that things are going to be changing and they're going to happen suddenly in one day. Everything's going to look as if it's moving forward as is, and then suddenly everything's going to change. I'm holding on to that suddenly. Every morning I wake up, Lord, is today the day the suddenly happens? Is today the day you rise up against the wicked? Is today the day you rise up, oh God, and scatter your enemies? He's going to do it. He's spoken it through multiple prophets, and I'm excited to see that happen. But those prophecies about this time that we're living in right now were given about 10 years ago. God was telling the prophets back then what we would be experiencing. He was telling the prophets about the 2020 election and what would be happening. Ooh, don't even get me started on all that stuff. Things are happening as God's allowing them to happen because he's going to rise up and totally rip out of this nation everything that's wrong with it. Thank you, Jesus. But we have to stand firm, even when it seems impossible, when it's looking around. Abraham's body was dead. Sarah's womb was dried up. And he said, I'm going to make you the father of many nations from your wife, Sarah. They did waver because what? She gave Abraham to her, or gave her servant girl to Abraham and said, give her a child and that will be mine, because that was the way things were. That child was considered Sarah's because, of the way things were in that time period. But, and that created Ishmael, which God allowed that to happen, and he even blessed Hagar and Ishmael. But, they did waver a little bit, but they still believed God to produce it. And she even laughed about it. Like, oh, am I going to be able to experience, the joy of joining together with him again? Or, You know what I'm saying? She laughed about it, and then she denied it because she got scared. But anyway, it's okay. All right, I like to use this story about Abraham as an example because it amazes me that he had such a huge task, really an impossible situation, and yet he saw beyond the problem-filled task as, again with the hiccups, sorry guys, the problem-filled task as he hung on to the promise of God, and that's what we have to do. We can't put our eyes on the task and act as if it's all within our own strength to get it done. God said, I am going to do this through you. Okay? So if God is going to make him the father of nations, God's going to have to restore his body, restore his abilities, restore the things that need to be restored in order for children to come forth. That's not anything Abraham can do. He can just be obedient when the healing and the strengthening and the restoration takes place. Right? If God says, I'm going to do this through you, there's things that we can't do. We have to wait for God to do them, and then we have to be obedient to step out and do or say what he said we need to do or say. In whatever situation you are in right now in your life, whether it is something with your kids or your marriage or your finances, or you think you're never going to recover from your past, or you're fighting with an addiction, or sin that keeps trying to cling to you, know that God is greater than any problem you have. He's greater than any problem. Demonic strongholds, generational things, generational patterns that just seem to keep happening. God is greater than that. Do not listen to the lies of the devil that speaks hopelessness to your soul, that you're never going to get out of this, or that your kids are never going to be out of this. You see what I'm saying? Whatever it is. Do not listen to the lies of the devil. He's the father of all lies. If God said in his word, it will be done, it will be done. And that's just it, period. Lord, give me the strength to stand on that and believe it and not be discouraged. Don't worry, because when you pray and then you worry, the worry nullifies your prayer. I think we worry because we want the answer in 3 seconds. And when we don't get the answer in 3 seconds, and I'm just using that as an example, we want to see action immediately. And when we don't see action immediately, that's in our vulnerability, because our expectations were a little unreasonable. We're not allowing God to do his thing in his time. We were asking him to do it when we want it, pulling our little spiritual temper tantrums because we didn't get it immediately. The enemy exploits the vulnerability and puts in those little fingers of doubt, and worry, which then nullifies completely the prayer. And then we're not getting anything. And then we're like, God, why? God, why? When it was us. When you doubt, you receive nothing. We just have to say, Lord, I receive it. Manifest it, Father, in your perfect time. I'd like it sooner than later, but help me to stand firm until I see it. He knows us. He knows you, admitting that you want it right now. There's nothing wrong with that. But also trusting him to do it in the exact perfect time. I never dreamed that 2023 would look the way it does as far as our country and leadership and all that stuff. I never dreamed it would look that way because the prophecy says something different. I said, Lord, I never dreamed your mercy is so great. Why are the wicked still flourishing? Why are the wicked still getting their way? Why are the wicked destroying our country the way they are? Lord, you said. And so he said, you stand firm. And I'm like, Lord, he told me on November the 4th, 2020. I said, Lord, what is happening? And he said to me, I need to expose so that I can dispose. That's all he said to me. I said, okay, all right, Lord, I trust you to expose so you can dispose. And if you look at all the things that have happened in our nation, some of the righteous judgments that came up, Roe v. Wade and some other things, God is restoring some things. He's restoring things the way he wants them, little by little. And then there's going to be a big whammo with a suddenly. And I'm excited to see it. But he is. I need to expose so I can dispose. This isn't about political party or anything. This is righteousness versus darkness. And so God is going to have his way. God always wins. He never loses, which is what helps me to stand firm and strong. He's so great. He loves this country. He loves this country. Okay. All right. God is greater. Okay, prayer is something you do instead of worry. It's something you do with worry. Worry says we don't really think God is going to come through, so we are going to have a backup plan in case he doesn't. That's what worry does. I don't trust God to do this, so my backup plan is this. Prayer says we trust God to work it out, and he will. And if you're in a dire situation, God knows that. He knows it. Put it before the Lord. If there's repentance needed on your behalf for making a foolish decision or getting yourself into a mess, then you need to repent before God and ask him to forgive you for whatever it is that's opened the door for the chaos and the stress and all that stuff that's come into your life. Okay, if there's a need for that, if your situation isn't from anything like that, he still sees it. He loves you. He wants to see things work out in your life because his plans are what? To prosper you, to not harm you, and to give you hope in a future. John tells us that he has come to give us life and life to the full. The first part of that verse is the thief comes to steal, kill, destroy. So if there's anything going on in your life that falls into one of those categories, stealing, killing, and destroying, you better believe the devil's involved in it. So it's like, okay, Lord, I need the devil out. I want that life and life to the full that you promised. Now show me what I need to do. And some of us we have to learn the hard way. We have to bang our head against a wall a few times before we finally get it and realize that our poor choices or the, things that are happening in our life are because of things we've done that we haven't taken authority over, or are seeking our flesh instead of trusting God. That's a lot of our things happen because of that. So we have to own it and understand and realize we don't need to seek a life the world tells us we should have. We need to seek the life God wants us to have. It's better than anything the world has to offer. You can look at the richest person on the earth, and if they don't know the Lord, they are not happy. I guarantee it. I guarantee it. Because there is no life in wealth or fame or anything. There is no life in it. There's no joy in it. Okay? The only joy that truly satisfies and fulfills is what we find in the Lord. Okay, we don't need to know what God is going to do or when he is going to do it. We just need to know that he is with us. If God is for us, who could be against us? Nobody. You're on the team that always wins. So you don't have anything to worry about. You're on the team that always wins. And when people plot and scheme against you and things happen and people speak words against you, you wind up losing a job because of it, blah, 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 blah. You know what I'm saying? When you have things happen, you have a God that has something better and greater for you. So trust him. Don't bemoan what happened. Let the Lord heal your soul from that and move on. And he will put in your life better than you have ever had. God is working in your life right now in ways that you don't see, and that's the truth. You don't see it, feel it, and don't understand. Just because what is going on in your life right now doesn't feel good, doesn't mean God is not working. He totally is. Our trust in him today is no matter what you are going through, lift it up to God and say, God, I trust you. I trust that you are working in my life right now, and I am expecting something good. And I am living proof of that. I hung on to it. I hung on to God's promises to me. And God has poured blessing out in my life in ways I didn't expect. And in the midst of going through what I went through, and I'm referring, of course, to what happened to me in 2019, because that was the catalyst for change in my life. I loved the Lord. I gave my heart to the Lord in 1986. As a young 20-year-old, I gave my heart to him back then. And I have loved him and pursued him ever since. I have made mistakes along the way because there's a sanctification process. There's a growth and a maturing process that takes place always in every day of your life, I don't care if you're 100, God is still doing a work in you, because we are far from perfection. Until the day he takes us home, he is working in us to perfect us. Okay? Lots of growth has taken place over the last, 36 years. And that was a catalyst for big change in my life in 2019. That was next level change. That wasn't a maintain my life with the Lord. That is, God's got better, step it up, sister. And so that was the catalyst for change and a big leap up, and wisdom and other things. Just, the Lord so blessed me, and I'm so grateful. Just as anybody who's ever gone through a terminal illness and survived it, like cancer or something like that, that's a life changer. That's a catalyst for huge change in their mind, their attitude, their heart, their spirit. Some of them, that's what brings them right to the Lord. Catalyst for change. They're never the same. I'm never going to be the same after that. And I am living proof that when you trust God, he is faithful to fulfill it. Let's pray. Father, in the name of Jesus, I thank you, Lord, and I give you all the glory, oh God. All the glory for everything that you are doing. Help us, Lord, to not worry when we lift prayers before you or when circumstances happen in our lives. Help us to turn that worry into faith-filled prayer so that we can stand firm and be filled with confidence that you are going to fulfill your word in our life. We thank you for the ways that you are working that we don't even know or understand. Help us, Father God, to have eyes to see and ears to hear and to be obedient when you open the door for us. Thank you, Father, for loving us so much and giving us such a wonderful life in Jesus' name. Well, God bless you, and thank you so much for stopping by my channel. I do hope you decide to like and subscribe and click the notification bell. Come back and check out some of the other content I have on my channel. I am going to be doing a few other things. Hubby and I are going to go see The Blind tonight. It was sold out last weekend, so we didn't get to see it. So we're going to watch it tonight, which is why I'm dressed in a pretty dress. I love it. I don't normally wear this kind of a pale pink, but I really like the way it looks. So we're going to go watch that today. The Blind is a biographical movie about Phil Robertson, who is the patriarch for the Duck Dynasty family out of Louisiana. It tells his salvation story. And let me tell you, I'm thrilled to bits that we are getting quality films for us to watch. I'm a little bit tired of the filth and the things that they put out there that are so aberrant with such evil messages and such depravity. I just don't want to put that in front of my eyes. I'm thankful for quality films that we can go see and feel good about watching and supporting with our money. So thank you guys again. I hope you have a wonderful Wednesday. Bye until next time.